Hi everyone, Kevin here from 99quidwebsites.co.uk and founder of the Online Visibility Agency. Today we're going to be talking about, is it a good idea to have your email address on your website? Now you may well be thinking, well, this is a really obvious question, as in, of course we want it on there, we want people to email us. But is that the best way to actually approach this or not? And the thing is, when we put our email address actually on our website, a couple of things happen. Now, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's a personal choice. But what can happen is people can go off and they can scrape that email address off of your site and then add you into stuff that maybe you don't want to be added into. Now, is that right? No. Does it happen? Yes. So you may want to consider how and where you place your email address. Now, most modern websites nowadays will have a contact form. So you don't have to display, they can still make contact with you via that form. However, that's if they actually can be bothered to fill the form out. And sometimes they just don't want to do that. Sometimes there's issues with recaptures and all sorts of things with blockers on phones nowadays and on browsers. It can sometimes be a little bit tricky. There's also a rise in having chat widgets on websites. WhatsApp buttons, messenger buttons that go through to you, and you can have a live chat or an automated chat, and that will then say you can enter your details in here and we'll email you back. All of these are really good options. However, the question remains, should you still have your email address on your website? And the honest answer is, I believe that you should, the same as you should have a contactable phone number on there as well. And they should be front and center, because ultimately, a website is a marketing tool. Now, we put time and effort into getting our sites ranked, getting our content found, getting our services found. The last thing we want to do is put an obstacle in the way of somebody being able to make contact in a way they want to make contact. If all you have is a phone number, some people may not want to pick the phone up. It may be out of hours. So you may work a 9 to 5 or Monday to Saturday, and it's 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, and they're like, oh, I really like the look of that. I just want to ask them something about this. And if they don't, if all there is a phone number, you're going to miss that customer. So put in some form of other ways of contacting people on there. Remember, it's not about you, it's about them, although you have to manage that expectation. So if you have a chat widget in there, you have your email address, phone number on there, then they're all great ways for people to be able to make that initial inquiry with you, to be able to say, I've looked at your site, I've looked at your content, I want to ask you something, and maybe it's not convenient for me to phone, so therefore I want to send you a message or an email. What I would suggest you do is you keep a separate email for inquiries that come in via your site, so you can monitor any spams that you've been involved in, anything that people have put you in dodgy lists that you want to block, so you don't get inundated with all of that stuff in your other email accounts. So it's quite common now to have one just for marketing purposes, and you may well want to go to the lengths of, okay, I'll have an email address for my website, I'll have an email address for my social media, I'll have an email address for my networking, and therefore you can start to track a little bit more as to where your contact is coming from, rather than just have one and it all filters into that. Now, obviously, the bigger you get and the more team members you get involved, then the more that's going to become important. If you're only yourself, which is fine, you may just want to have one for the website and online stuff and one for your other stuff, maybe a client one. We've found that works really quite well, and therefore you can keep everything separated out and you're not inundated with a ton of stuff that's not necessary when you're trying to find that client email that sent you something and you just can't find it. So good places to have an email address right across the top in the header where the menu is a really good place. It's normally on every single page that you go onto, and people can therefore click through on that quite easily. Of course, we have a contact button in the menu as well. That takes people through to a contact page where normally they would fill the form out, but you can also put your email in there as well. The contact form will be useful because you may want to separate out the inquiry. If you offer, say you're an estate and letting agent, you might want one for lettings, a drop down, Is your inquiry about lettings or is it about sales? And therefore, when somebody in your office goes back to them, you can at least put the right team back in touch with them. So contact forms are a little bit of a different animal, but they can work quite well. Having your email address on there as well for general inquiries is going to be useful for you too. The more we can make ourselves available to have human interaction, the better your business will thrive with the online marketing that you're doing. So don't hide behind a website. It's there as a tool to generate interest for you. So when that interest comes in, make it super simple for people to be able to go, yep, I want to phone, here's the number, email, here's the email, message, here's the message, WhatsApp, here's the WhatsApp button, however they want to do it, because it's down to their type and style of communication that could be the difference between them contacting you or not bothering. So go off and think about that. Go and look at your website. If you want a free review on your website, of course, just send me a message wherever you're watching this. I'll happily do a review for you with best practice on your websites. So have a great day, everyone. See you in the next video.